Namaste. The nature of Ketu is to let go. A Ketuish person will never react to a negative comment. He will simply block the person, and before he blocks the person, he will simply press two buttons, shift, delete, and the matter is over for him. For him, you are as good as dead. So, a Ketuish person is not at all interested in reacting. He understands that by reacting, you fall into a vicious circle. But when it comes to Rahu, then he will fight. He will give tit for tat. And that is precisely the nature of Adra, the very first nakshatra of Rahu. If this Rahu or if moon in Ardra Nakshatra has a very good support of other planets in the horoscope, then the person will definitely do good in profession where you need to argue a lot, you need to debate a lot, you need to investigate a lot. So media is one good field for Ardra Nakshatra natives. Similarly, Aadra is also highly intellectual, and so the field of technology is also positive for Ardra Nakshatra. Interestingly, Aadra falls in Gemini and exactly opposite in the sign of Sagittarius, you will find Mula. So the nature of Mula is just to cut. Remember, much has to be cut, only the essential has to be kept. That is the very basic nature of Ketu. Ketu dislikes all kind of noise. Ketu is perfectly aware that there are many negative people around this vast world, and they will try to hurt you, they will try to offend you, but you should never react. You should simply erase them by using whatever means that are available. And when it comes to Adra, then the native cannot let go. He will continue to fight, he will continue to argue. And many a times you need this kind of people also, because to finally to run this human world, you need political leaders, you need intellectual people. So this kind of things, this kind of people are required. And that's why existence always maintains balance. And the whole balance is between Rahu and Ketu. In this podcast, I have shared many details and insights and stories while talking on this significant nakshatra, Ardra Nakshatra. So let's begin. It cannot be a coincidence that just now the auspicious month of Shravan has begun, and I am sharing with you all the many dimensions of this wonderful and highly intellectual nakshatra, the Nakshatra of Aadra. Tears are beautiful. Once, when I was traveling through the Sahyadri mountains, I met a great yogi, and he said, "When your teardrops are cold, you are crying out of joy, and when your teardrops are warm, you are crying out of pain." And this is so true, so true. Ardra means wet. This wetness is caused by tears. And when is it that tears start flowing through your eyes? Only when you cannot express your joy or when you cannot express your pain. Only then tears flow through your eyes. Aadra is therefore a nakshatra that takes you through a lot of melodrama in which you may cry out of joy as well as you may often cry out of pain. But life is never boring when it comes to Aadra. A woman born on Aadra is like a wild storm. You cannot dominate her. In fact, women born on Aadra have been at the forefront of the woman empowerment movement. If you are planning to marry a woman born on Aadra, then you should first understand that she is going to require her space, her freedom, and her right to make a good career for herself. Basically, Aadra born female, of course with good supporting chart, is highly ambitious and career oriented. Or even if they don't work, still, even as a housewife, they ensure that they are always at the forefront when it comes to making major family decisions. And what to say about a man born on Aadra? He is highly intellectual, excellent in communication skills, and loves to live an adventurous life. Aadra native men or women like to have a constant change or some kind of stimulation in their work life as well as love life. Always remember, relationship begins with communication. The more you chat with a person, the more you come closer to that person. And so, it is said that a relationship begins over a cup of coffee. Many a times through the course of chatting and talking, you feel that the person is perfect for you. But then later you realize that your observation was wrong. Other natives either get fooled in a relationship or they fool their partner in a relationship. Depending on the placement of the chart, either you become a victim in a relationship or your partner becomes a victim in a relationship. Aadra is full of spice, masala. This nakshatra brings a lot of restlessness. The native cannot stay at one place for long. He or she continues to move on. And so it is somewhat dicey when it comes to dating a man or woman born on Ardra Nakshatra. Being polished is one significant trait of Ardra Nakshatra. The person himself likes to live in a polished manner as well as expects that his or her partner also lives a polished life. Crudeness and shabbiness is something that these people dislike. They are very particular when it comes to maintaining cleanliness and hygiene. Traveling is what comes naturally to a man or woman born in Adra. Constant movement is necessary when one is born in Adra. To a man or woman born with moon in Adra, life is interesting as long as they keep moving, traveling, and experiencing new places, new traditions, new cultures, and new people. People, yes, these natives want more people around them, and that makes them a social animal. They like to have many friends and even try their level best to stay connected with all their family members. Probably very few may remember who is your uncle's cousin's cousin sister. But a moon in Adra native will remember. They have an excellent memory, and moreover, because they are fond of people, they always remember every face they meet. They have this special gift of remembering everybody, those who come in their life and also those who take an exit from their life. You can say that a moon in Ardra native is indeed a walking directory of contacts and connections. When it is Ardra moon native, then you know that he or she is never going to forget your birthday. Adra moon person is very intense by nature. If he finds a woman without whom he cannot imagine his life, then he gives up on one night stands. It is said that a real man gives up one night stands for a woman he can't stand one night without. Moon Adra native is extremely intense in his love relationships and also in the act of sex. At times, this intensity makes them possessive by nature, and the moment possessiveness takes over, love ceases to exist. Remember, if you love a flower, don't pick it up, because if you pick it up, it dies and it ceases to be what you love. So if you love a flower, let it be. Love is not about possession. Love is about appreciation. Love can never possess. Love is giving freedom to the other. Love is an unconditional gift. It is not a bargain. Remember, the way of love is the way of no expectation. Love exists only when there is a total acceptance and no desire to change anything. Moon in Adra native is highly sexual by nature. To him, love is incomplete without sex, without expectations being met, without having a proper deal that says, if I love you, then you also should love me. In reality, love is not a deal, but people expect that if I love you, then you also should love me. People talk a lot about love. Couples compose many poems when they fall in love. But just ask, if one of the partners is unable to provide sexual satisfaction, then will the other partner stay for long? That is what the worldly love is at the lowest rung. Truth is hard, and I don't care whether it disturbs you, because the mind never wants to know the truth, though it always says, I want to know the truth. That is how the nature of the mind is, cunning. To hear the truth, you first have to be truthful to yourself. To hear the truth, you first have to remain open to change. And to hear the truth, you first have to learn to accept your mistake. Other person finds it very difficult to accept his or her mistake, and so they keep fighting, arguing with others, trying to show them how the whole world is wrong and they are right. The best part that these natives play is the blame game. They just love to put blame on others, and that is how they go on missing the opportunity to learn, evolve, and mature in life. Less evolved souls blame others. For them, putting blame on others is the easiest escape route. Evolved souls never blame others. They accept their mistake, and because they accept their mistake, they learn from their mistakes, and that is how every phase of life they keep growing. Because you all should understand that real growth is not about how much money you earn or how many cars you drive. Real growth is simply based on how much you as a person has evolved, how much awareness you have brought to your being, how much you have succeeded in expanding your consciousness. Adra native earns good money and good status in society, but fails miserably in experiencing the real growth, the growth within. Like all other Rahu Nakshatras, Ardra Nakshatra brings a great deal of intellectualism to the native. These men and women are very much in their heads, highly logical. Their brain commands their heart, and that indeed becomes the root of all their problems and miseries. Always remember, and I share this specifically for my close followers, that intellectualism is the reason of miseries, and so don't be intellectual, instead be intelligent. Once it happened, three men were brought before the judge, and the first man said, "It is not my fault, I was walking and this guy." The judge said, "Many times you have been in the court and I don't want to waste time. You are fined $400. Next case, please." The next case was of the second man. Looking at him, the judge said, "You? Again? $800 fine. Next case, please." The next case was of the third man, and he quickly stood up and said, "I am guilty of stealing food, but my children were starving to death. I had no other option, although I accept my mistake." The judge said, "I liked your honesty, and because of it, I am giving you a break. Give this man $100 from police fund. Case dismissed. Next case." The next case was of a criminal. But look what he says. He stands up and says to the judge, "Sir, I am not going to lie to you. My children were also starving, and so I had to loot the bank." You see, this is how the mind plays the game. The criminal quickly understands that by showing off how honest he is, he too can slip out of the court. However, the third man was honest, but this man was acting of being honest. To feed your starving kids, why you would loot a whole bank? But the criminal was just trying to act and gain some sympathy. And that is exactly how the mind is. And with moon in Aadra, it just becomes more cunning, more treacherous. Moon in Aadra can go either way. A total fake hypocrite or a very intense realistic person. Depends on the placement of Rahu and the aspects it makes with other planets in the chart. However, Moon Aadra native miss to realize that the true purpose of human life is not just earning money, but also focusing within. Moon Aadra native is so much focused on the outside, a typical Rahuish trait, that the inside is forgotten, ignored. Because of being extrovert and always focused on the outside, they earn money in abundance. They gain high status in society, and yet they feel lost, totally lost. These natives therefore always believe, or rather feel, that their problem is caused by someone else, and that makes them more miserable than they already are. These natives therefore feel that they are the victims, when in reality the truth is that they remain ignorant, insensitive, and in their own illusions. These natives therefore are always found in the tight grip of their mind. Aadra mother-in-law or Aadra daughter-in-law, they are so much in the grip of their mind that the poor husband has to face the daily quarrels between his wife and his mother. And imagine if the husband is also moon in Aadra, then the whole house becomes a battlefield, or rather a jungle filled with wild animals. It is funny that people give long lectures on being human, but when they become angry, It is the animal within them that comes out and not the human being. Ardra Nakshatra rules the eyes. Moon in Aadra virtually makes the native a blind man who thinks that he is carrying a lamp in his hand. Reminds me of a story. There was a blind man, and he had come to meet his old friend, a wise man. The wise man said to the blind man, "It is getting dark, and so I would like you to carry this lamp with you so that you reach your home safely." The blind man laughed and said, "I am a blind man. What difference it makes if there is a lamp with me or not? To me, day or night, it is the same. Remember, I cannot see. I am blind." The wise man said, "You cannot see, but when you carry this lamp, other people will be able to see you, and they will not bump into you in the dark. So take the lamp." The blind man accepted the lamp and set on his way back home. He must have hardly taken a few hundred steps when someone bumped into him. The blind man was surprised and he started laughing. He said to himself, "Seems the logic of my wise friend was wrong, and I was right." The blind man asked the man who bumped into him, "Brother, can't you see there is a lamp in my hand? Are you also blind?" The man said, "I am not blind, but the lamp in your hand has gone out." This is the state, not only of Ardra moon natives, but the majority of human population. We think that we are holding a lamp, that is awareness, but the lamp has extinguished long back. And we are walking in the dark, thinking that we are aware, imagining that we are intelligent. And that is how everybody is bumping into someone, because there is absolutely no awareness, no consciousness. The lamp is there, but it is a dead lamp with no light. It seems that though we have eyes, we remain blind, utterly blind. Rahu brings more ignorance and illusions, and so the native assumes that he or she is carrying a lamp, but in reality, the lamp has lit out, and there is total darkness, and it is this darkness that brings many miseries to your life. Professionally, these people may do well, but on the personal front, they fail in relationships. They fail in experiencing the peace, the bliss, and the joy within. Eye problems often occur since Aadra rules eyes, and moon in Aadra either impacts the eyes negatively or the native is obsessed with his or her beautiful eyes. Moon in Aadra indeed gives a mesmerizing look to the eyes. Passion and intensity are seen through the eyes of these natives. Ardra moon natives are in general Shiva devotees. The Rudra within them is pulled towards the Maharudra, Lord Shiva, naturally. Ardra moon always is busy and loves to make others also busy. And there is an old saying that one who becomes busy always earns good money. Because more work, more connections means more money. It is good to remain busy provided you are adding value to others' life or to your life. Ardra moon native is the perfect choice for getting your job done because he is a busy man. It is said that if you want to get something done, then give it to a busy man. It is good to remain busy. But Rahu never stops. Rahu makes these natives obsessed of remaining busy. By chance, if they lose their job or business goes down, then these fellows feel restless, and many also commit suicide or they take to drugs or alcohol because they are too focused on the outside, and the outside can never be controlled. You can never control the outside situations. The more you try to control outside situations, the more you try to control people, the more you will feel frustrated. Moon in Ardra connects you with certain pain, certain suffering, a certain tragedy, and then the eyes become wet. That's Ardra. And if you ask me, then this is the most purifying nakshatra of all nakshatras. Yes, it is ruled by Rahu. Yes, it is the most feared nakshatra. Yes, the world has defamed it, and yet I stand to my word. Aadra is indeed the most purifying nakshatra of all nakshatras. A certain sorrow is needed. A certain wake up call is needed. Only then will you wake up. Only then you will become aware. And there is nothing as life changing as the arrival of awareness. This pain that comes through Ardra Nakshatra is not to make you sad, remember. That's where people go on missing. This pain is just to make you more alert, because people become alert only when the arrow goes deep into their heart and wounds them. The journey of the soul is through the track of all 27 nakshatras. So, this life you are born on Adra. The next life it is going to be Punarvasu. How? Why is this possible? Everything is possible. If the soul maintains a progressive outlook, it is but obvious that he is going to progress. He is going to move ahead to the next nakshatra in line. If the soul is going to live this life in utter ignorance, in the next life he remains on the same station of Adra. He has missed the train due to his or her own ignorance. So, this life is just a small part of the many lives to come. Always remember this. This is of significance. Your nakshatra, your moon zodiac, your sun zodiac, your ascendant, these all are simply a representation of your growth till date. What is growth? What is real growth? Bank balance, sexual pleasures, properties, cars. In the pursuit of achieving the material growth, the real thing, the real growth is missed. It is simply missed. Growth has to be something that is going to last forever. What you are running after is not the real growth. It is simply a demand for your unending desires. The desire of having lots of sex, the desire of having lots of money, the desire to have lots of fame. These all are desires that would never end. You may sleep with many beautiful women, or you may sleep with many handsome men, yet your desire for having more and more sex will never end, because the nature of the desires is such that they simply never stop. They want more and more and more, and this is Rahu. Greed, lust, ignorance. This ignorance is caused by Rahu. And the nakshatras it presides over is the nakshatra of Adra, the nakshatra of Swati, and the nakshatra of Shatabisha. Yesterday a young man asked, "What is Lakshmi?" People have weird ideas about Lakshmi, and the most claimed one is that Lakshmi means money. That is utterly wrong. But to natives of Adra, Swati and Shatabisha, the definition of Lakshmi is in plain words, money. Lakshmi is not money. Lakshmi means peace. And let me tell you, money never brings peace. Brothers have chopped each other's head to get properties and money. Husband has caused much pain to wife, and a wife has caused much pain to her husband just for this money. People cut each other's throat just for this money. And you say money is Lakshmi? Money is not Lakshmi. Peace is Lakshmi, and peace blossoms only in that house whose family members are not greedy, not lustful, not ignorant. Then the money that they earn brings peace, and it is through this peace that happiness and prosperity is experienced. Ramakrishna Paramahans, one of the greatest yogi, would never keep any money with him. Money would make him very restless. And so one day, Swami Vivekananda, who was yet to become a disciple of Ramakrishna Paramahans, decided to taste Ramakrishna. In the beginning days, Swami Vivekananda would not accept Ramakrishna Paramahans as his guru. He tasted Ramakrishna in various ways and asked him many critical questions. Ramakrishna also encouraged Swami Vivekananda and told him, "Taste me as the money changers taste their coins. You must not believe me without tasting me thoroughly." Swami Vivekananda learned that Ramakrishna considered money as a hindrance on the path of spirituality and could not tolerate the touch of silver coins, that is money. To taste this, one day when Ramakrishna was not in his room, Swami Vivekananda put a silver coin under the mattress of his bed. Ramakrishna entered the room without knowing what Swami Vivekananda had done. Ramakrishna sat on his bed but immediately jumped up in pain and asked someone to check his bed. The bed was searched and the coin was found. And Swami Vivekananda's eyes were filled with tears. He bowed before his Guru, Ramakrishna Paramahans, and for a long time he remained at the Master's lotus feet. The beautiful relationship of a disciple and the Master between Swami Vivekananda and Ramakrishna Paramahans is so touching that words cannot suffice. It was known that Swami Vivekananda did not accept or worship the goddess Kali, the goddess that Ramakrishna Paramahans used to worship. And so one day Ramakrishna asked him, "Why do you come here if you do not accept Kali, my mother?" And Swami Vivekananda's eyes became wet. Looking into the eyes of the Master, he replied, "Simply because I come to see you. I come to you because I love you." Rahu cannot understand this love. Rahu cannot rejoice in this love for the simple reason Rahu is interested in money and Lakshmi is not money. Money is money. It brings along too many miseries. But the same money, when is earned through good means, when is earned and spent for good purposes, when is earned and spent to help someone, then the same money becomes Lakshmi. You know why? Because it brings along a certain peace, a certain satisfaction, a certain bliss to yourself. So money is not Lakshmi, but money can be transformed into Lakshmi when you do good to others through the money that you earn. When your money is used for positive, constructive karma, then the money you have is transformed into Lakshmi. Then this Lakshmi brings peace and prosperity to you and your dear ones. It is all connected. It always is. The divine saint Neem Karoli Baba, whom the much famed Apple founder Steve Jobs had come to meet, says, "Money should be used to help others. Then such a money stays, then such money has a certain fragrance to it, then such money never fails you. You are always found in peace, in bliss." Rahuish men or women are simply running behind money, and they also make a lot of money, but that is money, only money, not Lakshmi. So please don't confuse yourself. Money is one thing and Lakshmi is another. Only that man can be blessed with Lakshmi who is not greedy for money, who is found to be utterly satisfied with whatever he is earning, who is not asking for a bribe. A great saint had once said, and he had said this to a government officer, that the money you receive on the first of every month, that is your salary, is your Lakshmi. And the thing that you receive, the money that you receive from 2nd to 31st of the month, that is bribe, is money. And so it is necessary to remember that not only you should earn money through good means, but you also should spend money on good things. Those people who spend lakhs of rupees on doing black magic on others, those kind of people who pay lakhs of rupees to black magicians to cause harm to others, these kind of people in the end suffer a lot. And so always remember, money is Lakshmi only when it comes through the positive source and is also spent for positive purpose. Only then your money is Lakshmi, else it is just a paper currency that can serve you with all sorts of pleasures but not happiness. You can get as much sex as you want but not love. Love and happiness cannot be bought in the market. They can only be realized within. It is true that Rahuish people are money makers, but they remain only money makers. They become just money. You can call them paise wala, a money maker, but you should never call them rich, shrimant, because that is something else. All three nakshatras of Rahu are money making machines. They just make you a machine that makes money, nothing beyond that. And so those who are considering money as their life goal, Aadra, Swati, Shatabhisha, it comes handy. But beyond money, there is not much to celebrate. Love is missing. Happiness is missing, health is missing, and so then you see these men in utter misery. But still, in the very beginning of this sharing, I had said that these are purifying nakshatras. Why? Because when you fall in misery, either you take the gun in your hand and you start shooting others, or you become more and more insightful, understanding, and mature. So you see, on what way does the chart inclines is based on the placement of Jupiter. The stronger the Jupiter, the more these people are purified through many sufferings. Is suffering really necessary? Yes and no. If you had not suffered as you have, there would be no depth to you as a human being, no humility, no compassion. Suffering cracks open the shell of ego, and then comes a point when it has served its purpose. Suffering is necessary until you realize it is unnecessary. Suffering has a noble purpose, the evolution of consciousness and the burning up of the ego. Now you see why I said Ardra is a purifying nakshatra. It takes you through many ups and downs, pains and sufferings until you come to your senses, until you become aware of yourself, until a day comes when you start turning inwards. And that is exactly what men and women whose moon is in Rahu's nakshatra should do. it is very difficult for them because whole life they have been an extrovert. The focus has always been on the outward, but experience takes them through many difficult lessons of life that, if taken positively, depending on Jupiter's placement, in the last phase of life, that is after the age of 42, they start becoming more and more meditative, but only if other positive aspects support. Ardra native is more talkative and more takey by nature. Technology is what they like, and they are also tech savvy. For innovations, strange ideas that make money, and unique business ideas that are lucrative, Adra is a suitable nakshatra. Let this be very clear that there is no such thing as lucky or unlucky in life or in astrology. Nobody is a loser because nobody is here by accident. Each person comes into this world with a specific destiny. They have something to fulfill, some message has to be delivered, and some work has to be completed. Many great scientists and saints are born on Ardra Nakshatra. It is a nakshatra that worships Lord Shiva. The energy of this nakshatra is the energy of Lord Shiva. And so I would appeal to all my listeners that if your birth nakshatra, that is, if your moon is in Adra, you have been a great devotee of Lord Shiva from many past lives. This life you may have forgotten, but I am reminding you to go back to your source from where you have come, and that is Lord Shiva. Visit his temple and fast in his name on every Monday. Om Namah Shivaya. Adra is the moment when Lord Shiva completed his many years of penance and opened his eyes, and a teardrop fell on this planet. This teardrop is the height of meditation. A great yogi is born, a great tapasvi is born. Celebration has to be there. Music, song, dance, and people say that Adra is unlucky. How is that possible? If proper guidance is provided and the other planetary aspects are positive, then this Ardra Nakshatra native can reach to the height of spiritual ecstasy. Such is the power of this nakshatra. The same Rahu, that is passion and desire, when channelized towards something superb, something of higher altitudes, it can create magic. Remember, on the base level is physical sex, that is body. It is pure physical. On the mid level is the mind. It is purely on mental state, and on the higher level is the soul. Every individual is born with a certain level of consciousness. The lower the level of consciousness, the more physical he or she is. The higher the level of consciousness, the less physical and more spiritual he or she is. Then their love is purely selfless. Then there is a certain fragrance to such a love. Love that comes from the state of the soul and not the mind, not the body. Yesterday somebody asked, what is sex? Communion between two bodies is sex. What is love? Communion between two minds is love. What is samadhi? Communion between two souls is samadhi. The higher purpose of a meditative soul is to reach the stage where the communion is between the souls, soulmates. Moon in Ardra native can do exceptionally well in media, technology and research fields. Since this is a highly intellectual placement, if Mercury and Rahu are well placed, then the person can do well in a career connected to intellectual fields. Always remember, astrology is simply the mirror of your whole being, and your whole being is formed by the support of all your qualities and skills. Similarly, results of the birth chart are based on collective support of all planets and stars. However, the idea of elaborating on a specific placement is just to let you have a feel of it. Just the way when you cook food, you need to know that red chili powder is spicy. However, how this red chili powder will manifest is based on the kind of combinations you do while cooking a certain recipe. This is exactly how astrology is. Ardra Nakshatra, if is placed in a positive horoscope, then the recipe will turn out to be the best and you will see excellent outcomes. However, if the horoscope is poor and you are born with moon in Aadra, then you may have to go through a lot of sufferings. And even after going through those sufferings, you may not improve, you may not rise, you may not transform. This is because the horoscope in itself is very poor in nature. So it all depends on the soil, that is the environment. Only then the seed will blossom. When the soil is good, then the seed will blossom. The takeaway for moon in Aadra people is, do not try to control others. Do not become so busy that you forget to enjoy the little moments of your life. And the last is, that is to spend some time with yourself. Start turning inwards. Meditate every day. Chant the name of the Lord. You may have earned good money, but now it is time to earn peace, joy, and bliss. And that is possible only when you start chanting, when you start meditating. Meditate. To start your bike, you have to keep kicking multiple times until the golden moment comes when the bike starts, and then it never stops. You enjoy the ride. You experience the many wonderful moments as your spiritual journey progresses. Meditation is just like that. In the beginning, you will have to keep trying very hard. Then slowly, the meditation will kick-start, and then there is no turning back. The road is clear, and you are ready to ride. Nelson Mandela mentions the same essence to his wife, Winnie Mandela, who was locked up in the Kroonstad prison jail. In his letter, Mandela writes to his wife Winnie Mandela. He writes, "At least if for nothing else, the prison cell gives you the opportunity to look daily into your entire conduct, to overcome the bad and develop whatever is good in you. Regular meditation, say about 15 minutes a day before you turn in, can be very fruitful in this regards," writes Nelson Mandela to his wife. However, the last words that Nelson Mandela writes to his wife are so beautiful that they should be written in gold. Nelson Mandela writes, "Never forget that a saint is a sinner who keeps on trying." The money, the status, the properties, and all the struggles that you undertake goes down the drain if you never spend time with that one person. You turn inwards, start meditating. Om Namah Shivaya. Om Namah Shivaya. Om Namah Shivaya. Jai Sri Ganesha. Jai Guru. Om Gam Ganapataye Namaha. Om Gam Ganapataye Namaha. Om Gam Ganapataye Namaha.